is a special day for us who are believers. It's known as Maundy Thursday. It gets that name from the Latin name mandatum, as it was on this day that Jesus said to his disciples, "A new command that I give to you, love one another as I have loved you." Although that's the name of the day, it's probably more known that this is the day in which Jesus was betrayed, and also it was on this night that he gave us the Lord's Supper. We continue to read through the Gospel of Mark. Today, we read through chapters 10, 11, and 12. I just finished doing that, and my first impression is this. Really two things sort of stuck out to me. The first was what I think is a rather curious verse, which was in chapter 10 of the Gospel. So if you look at chapter 10, it was verse 32, and it says, "They were on their way up to Jerusalem, with Jesus leading the way, and the disciples were astonished, while those who followed him were afraid." I'm not sure why, that never struck me before. So the disciples are astonished, but the crowds are afraid. What were they afraid of? My guess is, and I want to dig into this more, is the fact that they're going up to Jerusalem, and the crowds have a pretty good idea that if Jesus goes into Jerusalem at this time of year, it's not going to go well for him. And on the other side, you've just sort of got the disciples wandering along, sort of clueless of what's happening. I draw that conclusion because the very next verse, Jesus pulls the disciples aside and explains to them once again what's going to happen when he gets to Jerusalem. That he'll be betrayed, that he'll be crucified, and 3 days later he'll rise from the grave. Anyway, that verse just really stuck out to me. The other one is in reading chapter 12. All the various ways in which the Pharisees and teachers of law tried to trap Jesus. It's almost comical as they come up with the most ridiculous stories that they can and examples. The whole idea, if you're reading where it talks about, so what if a guy has 7 brothers and each one of them marries the wife and each one of them dies and none of them have children, then who's she married to in heaven? Coming up with a scenario that was completely unlikely, desperately trying to do anything to trap Jesus. I think it just gives us an insight of where they were at and how badly they wanted to try and turn the people against him. Anyways, those are my 2 insights from today. Why don't you share what your insights were?